Imagine flipping a coin. Heads, you win $1. Tails, you lose $1.05. Just 5 cents difference. Barely noticeable. You could win all afternoon. You could feel lucky. You could walk away up money more than once. But keep flipping long enough, and something inevitable happens. That tiny 5-cent gap quietly erases every lucky streak you ever had. That's essentially what a casino is, not a room full of chance, but a room built around one small, permanent mathematical edge, repeated millions of times a day, until luck simply stops mattering. Most people believe casinos make money because gamblers lose. That's true. But it's not the real story. Casinos don't primarily sell games of chance. They sell time. Every light, every carpet pattern, every free drink, every hotel room comped to a stranger. All of it exists to answer one question. How do we keep this person here just a little longer? Because the longer someone stays, the more that tiny mathematical edge has to work with. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about. That edge has a name. The house edge. Think back to that coin flip. Heads pays $1, tails cost $1.05. That 5 cents is the house edge. In roulette, it works out to roughly 5% in the casino's favor on every single spin. That doesn't mean the casino wins every spin. It doesn't. Players win constantly. Some walk away with thousands of dollars in a single night. What that small edge guarantees isn't a win on any one bet. It guarantees a win once you add up enough bets, across enough tables, across enough hours. This is why casinos never fear a winner. One lucky night barely registers against millions of bets placed across the floor that same day. The math doesn't need any single outcome. It only needs volume, and it needs time. So the entire business comes down to one resource. Not luck, time. And that's where the building itself stops being decoration and becomes a machine. Walk onto almost any casino floor, and you'll notice something strange within a few minutes. You genuinely cannot tell what time it is. No clock on the wall, no window showing daylight or its absence. Nothing quietly telling your brain that hours, not minutes, have gone by. That's not an accident. A former casino executive named Bill Friedman spent years studying more than 80 casinos trying to figure out exactly what made the most profitable ones different from the rest. His answer became something close to a rulebook for the entire industry. No clocks. No windows. Low ceilings to feel intimate rather than open. Narrow, maze-like walkways, so finding the exit means passing dozens more games first. Interestingly, Friedman later pushed back on one part of his own legend. He said it wasn't casino bosses secretly plotting to trap people. He argued serious gamblers actually wanted this, an escape from the outside world, so they could focus purely on the game in front of them. Whichever version you believe, the effect is identical. Remove every clue that tells your brain how much time has passed, and time becomes remarkably easy to lose. Not everyone agreed with Friedman, though. In the 1990s, a designer named Roger Thomas did the exact opposite when building the Bellagio. High ceilings, skylights, sunlight pouring in. Two completely different philosophies, but aimed at the exact same goal. Keep you inside, just through different doors. Now, time alone isn't quite enough. Eventually, you get hungry. Eventually, you need somewhere to sleep. If you've ever wondered why a waiter always seems to appear the moment your glass is empty, it isn't hospitality. It's math. A free drink costs the casino almost nothing, just a few dollars in ingredients. But it keeps you seated, instead of walking to a bar somewhere else. It softens your judgment just slightly, and it costs far less than what you might spend at that machine over the next few hours. The famous Vegas buffets work the same way. Cheap enough to give away, just to keep you from wandering off property to find dinner somewhere else. Even the deeply discounted hotel rooms follow this exact logic, just stretched across an entire weekend instead of one evening. The industry has a word for all of this. Comps, short for complimentary. And they aren't generosity. They're math done in advance. A casino calculates roughly how much a specific player is likely to lose, based on how they bet and how long they typically play. Then it offers comps, worth a fraction of that number, specifically to guarantee that player comes back. For most of the 20th century, this calculation happened almost entirely by gut instinct. A floor manager would recognize a familiar face, guess roughly how much that person tended to spend, and hand out a free steak dinner or a comped room based on nothing more than memory and intuition. That changed in 1998, in a way that's genuinely worth understanding. Harrah's Entertainment, one of the largest casino operators in America, hired a Harvard Business School professor named Gary Loveman to become the company's chief operating officer. He had no background in casinos at all. What he had was a theory. Loveman believed the entire industry was leaving enormous amounts of money on the table by relying on instinct instead of data. He once described his own approach to customers with a line that sounds almost unsettling out loud. He said he saw each customer as a set of probabilities, wrapped in human flesh. Loveman's big move was building something called Total Rewards, a loyalty program that, for the first time, linked every single casino a company owned into one shared database. A player's activity in Atlantic City could now inform exactly what offer they received the next time they walked into a casino in Las Vegas or Louisiana or anywhere else in the network. Within a decade, that program had grown to more than 40 million members, and it became something close to the largest behavioral database in the entire gambling industry. Which raises the obvious question: how does a casino know that much about you? Data. An enormous, constantly updated pile of it. That loyalty card in your wallet looks like a simple rewards program. Earn points, get a free meal. Underneath, it's a tracking system. Every bet you place gets logged. How long you sit at a machine. Which games you gravitate toward. How your behavior shifts after a big win or a rough loss. Over time, the casino builds something close to a complete profile of you and a number attached to it. Roughly how much you're worth over your entire lifetime as a customer. A casual visitor might be worth a free room and a couple of meal vouchers. A genuine high roller might be worth a private jet, a personal host, and a suite that would normally cost thousands a night. None of it is guesswork anymore. It's a spreadsheet, and it works. Loveman's data-driven approach at Harrah's was later credited with helping grow the company from a regional operator running about 15 casinos into a nationwide and eventually international gaming giant. At some point, buried somewhere inside all of that data, casinos noticed something surprising. Gambling itself wasn't actually their most valuable business anymore. The slot machines were what pulled people through the door. Everything else, the rooms, the restaurants, the shows, was what actually turned a profit once they were inside. Back in 1994, gambling made up roughly 60% of total revenue on the Las Vegas Strip. Today, that number has fallen to around 35%. The rest, the majority, now comes from hotel rooms, restaurants, nightclubs, shopping, concerts, and massive business conventions. The Mirage helped start this shift back in 1989. It was one of the first resorts built as one giant experience, restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and rooms, all working together instead of treating the casino floor as the only real product. It worked, and every resort built after it tried to go even bigger. Las Vegas quietly stopped being a gambling town. It became something closer to an entertainment machine that still happens to have slot machines somewhere near the middle of it. So where does all of this go next? Cashless systems are replacing physical chips, letting casinos track every dollar in real time. Facial recognition can already identify a high-value returning guest the second they walk through the door, before they've placed a single bet. The tools keep getting sharper. The underlying idea hasn't changed at all since Bill Friedman first removed the clocks, or since Gary Loveman first started treating gamblers as spreadsheets instead of strangers. Which brings us back to where this started. Casinos never actually needed you to lose. Losing is just what happens, reliably, once enough time and enough bets pile up. It was never really about luck at all. The next time you walk into a casino, don't look at the roulette wheel. Look at everything around it. The restaurants, the lights, the music, the free drinks, that loyalty card sitting in your wallet. None of it exists to entertain you. It exists for one reason. Every extra minute you stay makes the math just a little more certain. But here's the part that goes beyond casinos entirely. Casinos were never really in the gambling business. They were one of the first industries on Earth to figure something out, something almost every platform you use today has quietly copied. Keep people engaged for as long as possible. Social media does it. Streaming services do it. Mobile games do it, one notification at a time. Casinos just figured it out decades earlier than everyone else, with a Harvard professor doing the math by hand before anyone called it big data at all. In the modern economy, attention itself has become the real currency. And casinos, without ever calling it that, were some of its first architects.